relating to the carnage on the roads in Guyana. Carnage. You can't describe it as nothing else than carnage. And you know what is even more worrying to me is the response of the authorities. People are dying like flies, as they would say. So between Saturday night and Sunday morning, within a space of 5 hours, you had 8 persons killed on the road. 8 young adult teenagers. The oldest, they say, is about 21, and the youngest is 17 or something like that. But let me show you a clip of one of the accidents on the East Coast, and then we're going to come. Look what happened. This one that I'm showing you is the accident at Micah. Yeah, so that is the accident at Michael last week, Saturday night. They say it happens around 10:30. There's another video, but I'm not going to show that. It is too gruesome. Limbs all over the place, body parts, twisted bodies. I can't show that. But that is what you have. And more than that, let me move on. There's another accident. So there's 8. And then there's one yesterday reported where a man who was struck down on August the 9th at Mocha Access Road. He died sometime recently, yesterday, or sometime like that. The man died. And let me say this. This is not, as we have come to see, this is not an isolated case. This is not an isolated case. And accidents in Guyana, fatal road accidents, are very, very alarming. The authorities, for some reason, they don't want to admit they are like the proverbial ostrich. They're in a state of denial. But let me give you some figures. Let me give you some figures. The accident stats that they last released, that's the last time they released the accident stats. I know they're not making any comparison. They just said that as of 29th of June, they had 65 fatal accidents, 75 deaths. And then they get this thing now where they call some of them incidents. So they're saying there were 24 incidents and 27 deaths, a total of 102 accidents and incidents. That's what they say. But I know that once a person dies on the road, it's an accident. Once a person gets involved in whether it's motorcycle, pedestrian, it's an accident. And then let me show you some statistics now as it relates to Guyana's position when it comes to road fatalities. Hold on. Look, this what you're seeing here is road fatalities by capita, and this is world figures. This is in the world. You will see number 1, and this is for the Caribbean region. I pulled out for the Caribbean region. St. Lucia, they say 26.06 persons per 100,000. Every 100,000 persons, 26.06, and they rate number 55. Then Guyana, 22.39, and Guyana at 63. Haiti, 19.91 at 75. Suriname, 15.53 at 92. Jamaica, 14.23 at 101. Trinidad and Tobago, 9.09 at 126. Barbados, 7.96 at 132. Grenada, 7.76 at 133. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 7.11. That's for 100,000, as we said. They rank at 139. Those are the countries in the Caribbean. And for perspective, you have, I put here, United States average 11.10. They are at number 120. Canada, 4.58 per 100,000 at 157. And you have United Kingdom, 2.81 at 173. And this was taken to 183 countries. 183 countries in the world. That is where you are. So you have a situation where Guyana, when we spoke about crime, seventh highest in the world, ranked seventh highest in the world. You come now to road fatalities, very high per capita. A country with less than 1 million people, you're losing 22 point something persons for every 100,000. That is what is happening. And the people are clueless. They are clueless. And you know, before I bring in Mr. Conway, the president made a statement, right? The president said that he's deeply troubled by the deadly accidents. And he says the focus should be on speeding and drunk driving. But I'm going to go into this thing in detail for the remainder of the time. And then he said, and this is according to Newsroom. The Newsroom, you know, Newsroom is one of them mouthpiece. He says, the president said, he has asked the Commissioner of Police acting Clifton Aiken to create a new campaign to help address these issues. Through that campaign, the president said that there will be a great focus on excessive speeding and drunk driving. And then he goes on to say, according to the Newsroom, the quoting, a lot of accidents have to deal with excessive speeding and a lot of drinking and driving. Then he further said, we have also to move to we have to also move to enforcing the laws or enforcement of laws. President is further reported to have said it is heart-wrenching. 8 persons on one night, and look at the age group, right? The head of state said ensuring that the roadways are safer is a national issue and stressed the people have a responsibility, stressed that people have a responsibility to drive safely on our roadways. Since at least one of the deadly accidents involved motor lorries, the president said authorities have to examine the use of these vehicles. And let me a lot of other stuff attributed to the president. President said by increasing he admitted that, let me read that, deeply troubled by the increasing number of road fatalities, but he admitted that the state cannot tackle the issue alone. But I agree, the state can't tackle the issue alone, but you are the president. You have a minister of home affairs. You have a commissioner of police who you say doing so good that you illegally ask him to remain in office. These are people who one would expect will spearhead any initiative to deal with the carnage on the road. And he says some other things here. We have a collective responsibility on this issue. And we have to call a spade a spade. Well, I'm calling a spade a spade. It is the government of Guyana, your government, Mr. President, has to lead in this thing. So you're calling on all kind of people and you say it's a collective responsibility. Yes, it is. But you have a responsibility to lead. You have a responsibility along with your other ministers, the subject minister and other people to come up with some proper plan to deal with it. You have to do that. And there a lot of other stuff he said. Let me bring in Mr. Conway before I do the thing. You see, I'm sure you would have seen what the president said, man. What are your views on what is going on the roads?
What the president and they're doing, they're touching, they're dealing with the fruits. When you should deal with the root cause of the accident. You pick the fruit, other fruits will grow back. You cut the main root, and the tree will die. There's no silver bullet to solve this problem. There's no one-shot solution. We said over and over again that there must be an holistic approach towards this thing. All must be involved. And when I'm talking about all, give an adherence to the police force. Not only the traffic ranks, The other ranks must be involved. The commanders of the various division has got to get this traffic situation on their front burner all the time. They have to deal with it and only leave it with to the traffic ranks. You know, so many things that need to be done that you got to do to ensure that bring an end to this madness. And I listened to the president and I was listening for word. I didn't hear it at all. And I don't hear it. I didn't hear it from the man who's squatting. No, the minister of Home Affairs, they're not responding to the issue. One word. And the elephant in the room, corruption. And they are not addressing corruption. Persons getting their license too easily. Persons who don't know to drive will never be in front of a driving wheel and they got driver's license. I always have to refer to the report by the head of the internal audit, unit of the Guyana Police Force, on an inspection, former senior superintendent Rowan Singh. And Rowan Singh mentioned that 1,157 persons illegally got their license. He mentioned it and he called them potential killers in the use of the road. You know, the killers perhaps. We had a letter to the editor from Mr. Kit Nascimento, and he talking that he's convinced through this conversation with people that many persons who got license never drive a vehicle a day before they got the license. So the killers on the road, and even if you look at the allow driver package, yes, it is online, and they use it Zaro to do the theoretical test. Maybe because Zaro established computer centers all across the country, but Zaro is conducting the drivers the theoretical tests, and there are no checks and balances. Nobody overseeing Zaro. You tell me Zaro gets your angels, that nothing will happen? If even the devil now was an archangel, maybe and Judas betray Christ, that Zaro has full autonomy over who going to fail and who is going to pass the test. It's Zaro and Zaro personnel alone, no oversight, nobody checking on them. Therefore, we back to square one. We back to square one. And there are so many things, that going on in traffic. They don't have a database so that they can have, a real time situation with what is happening, what was happening on our roads there. I gonna pass from here. I'm gonna come back later, but I'll give you a piece of the battle.
Yeah, thanks for that. And the president made a statement about speeding and driving under the influence of alcohol and all of that. I mean, what figures, what type of analysis is being done? Let's examine the accident on over the weekend. The one at Micah, the one at Canal number 2. At Canal number 2, it is reported that the driver of that car was 17 years old. 17-year-old driver. You want to say speeding? Speeding might be one of many factors. Was alcohol involved? Was inattentiveness involved? You can't just jump to conclusion it is speeding or is driving under the influence. You have to make sure that when these things occur, a proper after accident assessment is done to determine all the various contributory factors to this fatal accident. You are the president and you're jumping, speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol. What happened to other drugs? People have said to me that, people have asked me whether they test for that. And I don't know that they do. You get a breathalyzer with tests for your blood alcohol content. But I don't know that if you are smoking ganja or you're under any other form of drug, cocaine or so, whether that is going to be whether going to show up. So you have to have a proper assessment just come with this whimsical stuff. Oh, this is the reason. Oh, you're speeding. You need more law enforcement. You're calling on campaign. What campaign? Have you not seen that that doesn't work? Have you not seen that the campaign the last time, a few weeks ago, when the commander of Region 4B almost get killed on the East Bank, they started pulling trucks. They do that. That faded away already. That has faded away already. You have this thing over the weekend. We understand in the newspaper today how many people charge for driving under the influence of alcohol. These campaign things cannot work because you're dealing with a culture of lawlessness. And my sociology teacher, Dr. Brown from Ghana, said that when you want to change a culture, this is a difficult thing. And no one-stop haphazard arrangement can work. You're trying to change a culture of lawlessness on the road. And therefore, your government has to have a proper, cogent, comprehensive plan to address it. And as we said, somebody did make the point, I put it up a while ago, that they're not addressing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is corruption, the big C, the sixth C, corruption. And I invite you people to read the editorial of Stabrook News, yesterday's editorial of Stabrook News. I'm going to read parts of it. And then after that, we're going to offer some suggestions. We again going to offer some suggestions as to what should be done. You start off here to say, amid the continued carnage on the roads, the barefaced shakedowns and pockets of shocking lawlessness that obtained in the administration of road traffic by members of the Guyana police force are the worst kept secret of the country-wide law enforcement regime. It goes on to say, the reality, however, has become sufficiently commonplace, sufficiently entrenched, that neither the Minister of Home Affairs nor the Commissioner of Police trouble themselves to the contrary. Perhaps worse, the practice of enforced police shakedown in quotes, in preference to the substantive application of the laid down laws in instances of traffic transgression, now ranks as arguably the most open, most cynical disfigurement of the laws by those who are sworn to uphold it. Open and barefaced as the practice is, those in authority have long ceased to consider it to be a matter for robust official sanctions. It is as if the traffic shakedown has become so too entrenched to too seasoned a practice to be removed. It goes on to say, nor can there be any question that most Guyanese with a modicum of smarts are acutely aware of the deep-rooted corruption that underpins traffic administration, in circumstance which in itself makes the point that we would be altogether deluding ourselves if we were to think that the forces top brass sit in blissful ignorance of the traffic administration regime that is mired in corruption. They go on to say, it is why it has been allowed to persist over the years, rather than the fact that it exists. That is the interesting issue. All the while, the lawlessness on the roads of all forms of tragic death continue, in the main because of poor or non-existent enforcement of traffic laws. Then they ask the question, was there a traffic cop in the vicinity of any of the 3 fatal accidents on Saturday night, Sunday morning? That is just a couple of the thing. I'm going to read a piece of it a little bit more. But let me say this. Unless you can address this thing in a very holistic way, these campaigns that the president talking about will not work. It is not going to work. Remember the last time when in, I think it was sometime the Ministry of Home Affairs made a statement about the 100% increase in fatal accidents and deaths. The man who sits in the chair, who is now squatting in the chair, called a meeting with all the traffic heads. What did he do? He transferred them all over the place. He removed them. They said they reshuffle them. Then what he did, he instructed that policemen must line the roadways across the country to prevent speeding. That is the man that you have there